I'll do pro bono, professional work, voluntary, for no pay. Is it just me? So when you look at this case, firstly, there's only one best barrister in town. Our Lucy Letby has got a new legal team. I'm not quite sure, but here's the thing. I've seen a barrister, he's up front. First mission, to get together a panel of experts from around the world, which he's done. There's a panel of around 14 people. There's also another panel of 4 or 5. So the 4 or 5 first, they've looked at 4 of these alleged murders. Yeah? Young children, babies, very emotive. Firstly, the families. You just got to feel for the families, yeah? They're the losers in all this, they really are. And then there is the profession. A very good friend of mine had a young boy born prematurely, hole in the heart. 30% survival chance, yeah? He survived, he's had his 2nd birthday. That's because of the nursing assistants, nurses, and upwards, the care he was given. This sack of shit unit that weren't fit for purpose, you know, it's a disgrace. So the small panel, they've looked at 4 of the murders. Not one bit of evidence to suggest any of them 4 babies, children, was murdered. The bigger panel have looked at all of them. Not one bit of evidence to suggest there was any foul play and the children, babies, were murdered. Not one. If you're going to go to trial on something like this, something as emotive, what was it, 6 months, reams and reams of evidence, if you're going to get one expert witness for me, you know, written a paper, done research, then it has to be flawless. They have to be the #1 expert. Yeah, we're all looking, we've all watched. Horrendous crime. I think jury's out, pun intended. 50% of you are thinking, you know, there's something wrong here. The other 50 bang to rights. And whichever side you fall on, I can't blame you. There was that much evidence. A lot of evidence was put on the notes. Like I said, 6 months of all sorts, stats, statements, you know, what ifs, looking at in depth at the post-mortems and the like I said, absolutely harrowing for the families. The notes. So Lucy Letby is maybe suffering a little bit. I mean, you just imagine, I know from personal experience, yeah, someone very close to me worked through lockdown in a home. They did great, almost 12 months, and then they started getting deaths, and it affected her really badly, horrendous. People you know the relatives, you have relationships with them, they're all individuals and they start dying and you can't do anything about it. So people working on these wards, I've known nurses as well, you know, working on cardiac intensive care and intensive care. They need to have empathy. You know, they really need to want to do that job and to see people maybe dying because, and this does happen, some manager won't sign off on a heart drug because it costs too much. Believe me, that was happening a long time ago in NHS. A lot of my friends went from trained nurses at the highest level to private sector, getting way more pay, better hours, better thought of and better looked after. So maybe she's on a unit, maybe it is stressful. I would imagine it is. Treating young children, babies, and the dying. You see the family trauma, people, you know, visiting their kids in incubators. Like I say, it's beyond repair. But she's having some sort of professional guidance, if it was that, counselling maybe, some support. And she was asked to write down things. That's the notes. And again, a big thing was on that. People have said to me when I've talked about this, what about the notes? She admitted it. She did it. It's absolutely tragic. But these people are at the top of their game. The real experts. They're volunteering for no pay, giving up their time. Life-changing. CCRC, so is this case going to get reviewed? I believe she already lost the right to appeal or whatever. She's got whole of life, Lucy Letby, never getting out. You know, we've seen stories about what's happening in prison, who she's associating with. Well, guess what? If you're on a wing and you've got Jack the Ripper, the Yorkshire Ripper, and maybe on a good side, I would like to mean Charles Salvador, also known as Charles Bronson, then maybe you are going to associate with them people. But here's the thing. Experts, top of their game. So what is going to happen? Is it the biggest miscarriage of justice? Will this be the quickest turnaround ever from whole of life to out? Again, the real losers, God bless them, the families of these children. A little bit about statistics, yeah? Because statistics are important. When the baby's children died, were murdered, allegedly, when she was on shift, yeah? She was on shift for all them deaths. You know, the stats they put forward said she was there. They didn't say in court that there were twice as many deaths when she weren't on shift. Everything can be fudged and, you know, made to look that someone is banged to rights. They used to go on a long time ago. Yeah, people would get fitted up. We didn't have the experts then. You know, how many lads and lasses have been locked up? And I know a few, yeah, because evidence wasn't submitted. The police or Crown prosecution had an agenda. The defence, like I say, if you're defending someone in a trial like this, you're going to want the best people giving evidence. You know, there's the whole thing being fudged, rushed through, satisfied the public, satisfied, again, God bless them, the families of these children and babies. It's absolutely criminal. But there is people from day one who've believed her. They've been called out, shouted down. It's a disgrace. You know, banged to rights. Look at the notes. She's admitted it. Watch this space. I'm just going to leave it there, guys. For me, it just shows what a shit show the criminal justice system is. Like I say, high profile case, super emotive. And has it been rushed and bodged? And also, let's not forget that further charges have been laid within the last month against people, maybe for negligence. We don't know. Her legal team don't know who the police have charged, who they've interviewed, what the charges are, and what it's all about. But they're certainly looking into it. You know, maybe it is neglect, overworked, understaffed, people not doing the jobs properly, people sort of metering out jobs to people who weren't capable of giving the care or diagnosing or recommending treatments. You know, consultant designates something to a junior doctor. We just don't know. We just need to watch this space and see what happens. That's my take on it. Me, again, pun intended, jury's out. I've seen a lot of the evidence. I find things like this interesting. How they go forward, the legal aspect and everything else. Thanks for your continued support. God bless you all. God bless the families. All the staff, nurses, doctors, consultants who work with small babies and children who are vulnerable. high mortality rates and at risks. You know, thanks for your care, empathy. Let's see what happens. Thanks for coming. I'll see you.